Hi everybody. I would like to welcome you all to another one of the conversations in the Influence series. And today we're interviewing actually two of our own. It's the HR team of Influence, Luis Rosetta and Sergi Benitez. I would like to welcome you to this talk, and I'm very happy to talk to you a little bit today and for you to share some of your experiences and interesting ideas with our viewers. So just for a quick round of presentation. Luis holds a degree in business administration and a master's degree in organizational innovation and entrepreneurship. And today he's the head of human resources and operations at Influence. Is that correct? Yeah? Okay. And Sergi holds 3 degrees actually, a bachelor in political science and 2 masters, one in international relations and another one in human resource management. And he works as a people and knowledge manager at Influence. Okay. So after this quick round of introduction presentation, I would like to ask you the first very obvious question, let's say. So you come from Brazil, Luis, and you from Spain, Sergi. So these are the countries with a completely different culture from the one we have here in Denmark. So what brings you here? Maybe we should start with Luis.
It's like the weather here is so nice, I had to come. Right?
Yeah, just for the weather.
I was also thinking about the same. The weather is so appealing.
No, but yeah, that was one of the reasons I wanted to come, because it's so different from Brazil. And not only climate and society, but also small things as well, the culture in general. I was very curious about that, and the masters I found here at CBS was very interested on that topic. So I decided, why not? Let's try. But I have never been to Denmark before. I arrived here for the first day of classes.
Okay, did you experience anything like a culture shock when you came?
That's the thing, not so much when I came, but I'm still getting some stuff now, with a delay. Yeah. But
these Europeans.
Yeah. It's like it takes a while, right? But then for some people it's easier. Like for me, it took more time to realize the small things that I liked that were missing.
And how about you?
Well, for me, the cultural shock was not that hard. We are all Europeans. The main reason why I came here is to escape from Spain. I'm not gonna mention the situation right now, but it's quite obvious. And also because I grew a certain interest on human resource management, and it's unfortunately in Spain, human resource management is still considered a very administrative job. So you do the hiring, do the contracts, you deal with the legal issues. Whereas here in Denmark, the working culture is different, and that the HR or strategies and the HR role, it's also in a way different. And I wanted to learn that role, and I wanted to learn what is the secret to motivate people, what is the secret to keep an employee happy, what is the secret to retain an employee and to make sure he still works with you for as long as you can, and also to learn from another culture, that's important, and to get a degree in another language. I think that's quite important nowadays.
Okay, well that's very interesting. So far your experiences have been positive as regards Denmark.
Yeah, I like Denmark. Yeah.
I mean, despite the weather.
Yeah, despite the weather.
Yeah.
And at least you have something that is bad.
That's true, but today we have sunshine.
Yeah.
That's great. And so a second, let's say, very general question as well. What made you step into the entrepreneurship, the startup environment? It's an up-and-coming sector. Maybe some people would say, oh, it's not serious. What is that? So how did you motivate yourself? Was there a special kind of desire to?
It's been there for a longer time.
Yeah, I mean, interested on the topic, right, but not doing something, right? I got first interested in entrepreneurship before joining. I did a bachelor in business administration in Brazil, right? And I always saw that as a way to one day start my business, right? But then I saw that business administration nowadays is more how to work in corporate, right? And but during my studies, I got more interest in entrepreneurship, and I started learning more about it. And in Brazil, this movement now it's very present, right? But it wasn't before. Like it changed a lot in the past 5 or 6 years, right? And here in Denmark, my master's is entrepreneurship, right? And I was here in this environment here at CSE almost always, and going to all types of events here, and I try to start some stuff as well, and with some partners and stuff. And so it just grows with time in you, right? Because it's not that it's easier. Like people see entrepreneurship as a way to be independent or whatever, right? But then it's not, because you get trapped in your idea and the limitations that you have as well. But it's just more empowering, right? It gives you more. You can shape. Like here, working with influence, right? It was the first time that I saw that I could actually shape the environment around me. So that's very empowering, right? You can see an idea and then you can put that in action, and you can mobilize other people. So that's what I find interesting about it.
That's great. And how about you?
For me, it's quite a recent experience. Actually, it was Luis who hired me, and in a way, I didn't really know what I was getting into.
Yourself into.
But at the same time, it's if I have to say my reasons on why I accepted, it's because when I graduated, and a bit like 2 months after that, I got recruited by Luis. And during that period, those 2 months, I was looking for a job, of course. And at some point you realize that, or you come to the conclusion that you cannot expect all those big companies where everybody wants to work, you cannot expect that those companies will deal with all the offer of job seekers out there. So I said to myself, well, it'll be interesting to see how a company is started, to see how you can shape processes, how can you shape a business strategy, a business model. And therefore I started looking for such a thing, and I found them, so I applied. And in a way I really recommend this experience, because if you go straight from studying to a big company, or you will find that there is already a lot of the processes are set up, and you will just have to continue them and systematically keep on doing what they have been doing. Whereas if you join a startup, or you try to start your own project, I mean, you are able to shape things, you are able to see where you made the mistakes and where you can improve. It also might take a bit of time, and you might be doing a mistake for quite a long, whereas another guy already did it before. But at the same time, being here in CSE, it gives you the chance also to talk with other people from like to other CEOs, other people that are just starting their own business. And in that sense, it also helps to avoid mistakes and to see best practices. So in a sense, it's an experience I really recommend, and I'm really glad I accepted, and I jumped into the entrepreneur track, because in a way I'm learning quite a lot out of it. And my previous experience was in very settings with companies or NGOs that have already all the processes, so you have less room for creativity.
So for our third question, I hear, Louis, that you have actually established a very complex and elaborate recruiting system, which could be actually compared to one used in actual big corporations. So could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Okay, that's that's too much.
Those are the words of our CEO.
Yeah, it's always like painting the picture really well. But then the things that we use with almost zero resources, right? And we made something that is very easy and
almost not completely zero resources.
Yeah, completely zero resources actually. Yeah. So we combine a few applications, and we use whatever we have that gives us a more or less efficient system. So we are using Podio now, and we created Podio is this kind of a Facebook for corporations, right? But you can get it for free if you are using for only a few people. And you can create apps inside of it. So you can build an app, or you can just combine a lot of things, and you can create your own application system. Right?
A recruitment application.
Recruitment application, right? And it's very surprising for us that medium-sized companies, for example, don't use that. If you are applying for big companies, of course they have their own. They need to deal with a lot of data, right? But a lot of HR departments in medium-sized companies, they use emails, and that's it. But then with this system, we can just talk to each other, review each applicant individually, make comments about it, and keep track of the recruitment process.
You create the application itself, what the candidates have to fill up. It comes everything through the same filter, and it goes everything to the same place.
Yeah. They are all already organized by whatever characteristics that we want at the moment. Right? So it's pretty easy, and it's crazy that people don't use free stuff more. And that's what I was talking about before. Like you learn to use with almost zero resources and create stuff.
Okay, so Podio can be downloaded for free?
It's a web application.
Okay.
You can just create an account and then it's done.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's just a question of looking
for free for a limited
for
amount of people.
10 people. Right?
Yeah, I think for
But
10
then
people.
if you are started and you're like 3 guys or 4 guys and you want to recruit another one, I mean, you can use that.
Okay, great. As far as working in a startup goes, there are probably many obstacles that you have to go through and that you encounter as you go along. So what are the biggest obstacles that you have faced so far, and how did you overcome them? Many obstacles.
Can I start with one?
Yeah, sure.
I would say that to find the application in Podio, to have all the incoming applications, everything very well organized, was a very good thing. But what it didn't work was the step before that one, which was the job posting and the job description itself. Yeah, we had a bit of we were not really in the job posting or the job offer was selling one thing, one company and one job, that then was not really what we were offering for real, and that created a lot of incoming applications of people that thought that this was an amazing job opportunity, but then it also created a problem with trying to choose those applications and then calling people for interviews and then realizing we were targeting the wrong people.
Yeah, because the thing is that as we were discussing before, right, there's some specific set of skills and personality traits that someone needs to have to work in a place that is more, that's changing a lot all the time, and where you need to create your own tasks and things like that. Right? If you create an application and if you can create an advertisement for a position, for an internship, and you sell it the same way as a corporation sells it, you're going to get applications for that specific type of people. Right? So, and it's not the same for us. So we had we had a lot of problems.
I would say that the lesson. Sorry.
No, but yeah, that's it. But we didn't know what we were doing at the beginning, right? So that's the problem. But we learned a lot how to search for that, and we are using a lot of classic HR things, but we are improving on the go.
Okay.
So
Okay. What would be one of the most interesting improvements, let's say?
That we started doing, for example, sometimes brutally honest job ads, and we got the most applications. And one of our ideas at the beginning, right, is that we had to make this beautiful job ad for the superhero, right, and to kind of cover the stuff that we thought was boring. But then we discovered that it doesn't matter the position that you have. There's always someone that likes doing that. Right? So if you need someone to do some research, you just say exactly that the person needs to sit on the computer and look for the stuff. Right? because there's one person that likes to do that. If you need to, call and interview people, you say that you need to call and interview people, because there is someone that likes to do that. Right? So that was a great realization. It's like this eureka moment that there's people that are completely different from you, so you can look at something and say, wow, this is totally crap, and other person say, wow, this is the perfect thing for me, right? So that's an interesting realization.
And at the same time, I would say one of the other realizations is that we had to add also in the job postings a sense that it's not only you are that task you are applying for. It's not the only task you will be doing. In a sense that you will have to be proactive. You will have to create your own task, and a sense that you will have to speak up your mind. That you will have to try to be creative, and always, if you have an idea, bring it forward.
Yeah.
And that's something that not everybody is ready for, and that's something that it's very important, I think, in the startups, to have very active and energetic people, and that they will bring you ideas forward besides doing the task you ask them to do.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
true. And yeah, we had some people that they said, you're really nice guys, but this is not the place for us, right? So they leave, right? And that's how it works.
So what would you say? What are the best parts of working in an HR department of a startup company, which we saw was not something usual, and what are the more the bad sides of the job, if there are any?
Yeah. Oh, like talking again about not being usual, right? It's because we are working with a lot of volunteers, right? So it makes sense that you have someone that takes care of that. If you are a startup of 3 people, of course it doesn't make sense. You're taking care of yourselves basically. But for us it made sense, and now the best part, I know for me, is just it's very interesting to see because it's really kind of a scientific process, because you try some stuff and you see the results afterwards. Like you hire this person, right? And you say, wow, this person's gonna be good, right? And then it's awful. Right? or then the opposite, right? You say, yeah, let's try it out. I mean, yeah, it's an opportunity for both sides, right? So let's see what happens. And then turns out the person is excellent, right? And then you try to go back in the steps and see, it's like, how is there a way to discover that? So I think that's very interesting for me, right? To see, what is the causation here? How can you predict the behavior of this person? So that's the most interesting. And the hardest part is that you need to analyze people a lot sometimes as assets, right? You try always not to do that, but sometimes you need to say that this person here, we need to think what's up, right? Or they need to improve, or we need to give like really clear feedback. That I'm trying to work on that as well. It's very hard for me to say to people that they're not doing a good job, but it's also a good part of the experience, right? I mean, you grow a lot, but I think it's hard. Yeah, that's mine.
And what about you?
From my side, it's also, I mean, the good side is the exciting part of you create the process yourself. There is a process of trial and error, and then you have to assess what you did, you have to assess your decisions, and then go back and say, okay, let's do it in another way, or oh, this worked out, let's keep on doing it and maybe improve it. That, for instance, with the kind of job interviews we were having at the beginning, and the kind of questions we were doing at the beginning, and the kind of, at the beginning it was more like we were selling more the position to the candidate, and now there is a, I mean, it's more the candidate selling to us, but we also sell a bit the position, because let's remember, we are in a startup, we are hiring volunteers. That would be that brings me to the bad side, which is, as we are hiring volunteers, as it is a startup, which means the resources are very limited. We cannot pay people, and how do you? I mean, for many organizations, and especially for many small, medium-sized companies, they think that the only way to motivate people is by by means of money, benefits, etc. And it's a bad thing, I think, because if you work in a startup and you deal with volunteers or with interns, it's amazing the ways you can find to motivate these people. And that would be the good side out of the bad side of not having money, which is learning how to motivate people without any external factor like money, benefits, etc., but with more making them responsible of the job they are doing, giving them autonomy, power, or decision, ability, possibility to put forward some ideas, etc. And it's very, in that sense, that's what I like of HR in startups, and I think that's that would be one benefit for any startup to rethink and say maybe we should have a person dealing with HR in our organization from the beginning, not after my company it's 50 or more people, like it's usually like that.
Okay. Do you maybe have a funny story, an anecdote from an interview, or a funny question that you ask candidates that you could share with us?
I don't know, Sergi likes a lot of these crazy questions, right? I mean, I'm a bit skeptical of them still, but there are some questions that are interesting to see what the candidate answers, right? And they seem crazy, but they have a meaning behind it. Right? But anecdotes, I don't know. I mean, we were so unprofessional at the beginning. It was crazy. Like the second interview that Sergi wasn't here yet.
Okay.
It was just me and Mario, right? And we had these job ads that were like overselling like so much. Right? And the girl that we were interviewing, like we were just laughing a lot because it was so informal and we have zero structure. And it was just to get a feeling of the person, right? And now we have some more of a process, and we can actually, get some objective analysis afterwards. But I don't know any specific stuff. Do you remember any specific thing?
Not really. I mean, so far, yeah, I do like those weird questions, and there is one, a specific one that puts people in a situation where they are about to have dinner with a family, and it's very interesting to see.
Yeah.
It tries to say like everybody has a role, so which one would be your role? And it's very interesting. I'm not gonna say the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to see how there is people who might give themselves a new role. There is people who might give themselves the role of managing the rest.
Mm-hmm.
There is people who might give themselves the role of motivating the rest.
Yeah.
And it's in that sense. I mean, I don't know if it counts as an anecdote, but it's to me it's been interesting to see how how people react to these questions.
And it's interesting because there's a pattern of answers, right? Kind of limited number of answers, but in a certain way they correlate with our actual impression of the person, right? So they say, I don't know, they would create a new task or something. We see that there's a certain personality trait behind it. Maybe we can instruct it more, right? But it's still the question has something there. Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Okay. And these questions, you come up with them yourselves, or did you find them somewhere, or how does it happen?
Did you find this one, or you created
This one I created myself, and I kind of base it on my personal life or experience, based on my family experience. And to be honest, actually, I don't know. This is no scientific finding or anything, but it's very interesting because one of the things I'm happy also is that we are interviewing people from many places in the world.
Yeah.
It's not that we are only interviewing Danes, but it's from Southern Europe, North Europe, South America, US.
Okay. So now I would like to ask you a question that concerns our viewers most, I think. It is, what piece of advice would you give to people who are looking for a job at the moment as regards their performance at a job interview, writing CVs, motivational letters, things like that?
Okay, should I start with my?
Yeah, sure.
Um, I'm also trying to just write a blog post in our blog about that as well. Uh, first the CV, right? It needs to be, it's a form of communication, so you need to follow some rules, right? And it also, you need to make it easy for us to hire you, like, because the information is very scarce. We don't know if you're going to be good or not. So always try to put the maximum amount of results you have and translate all your tasks and results into some quantifiable nature somehow. Right? Sometimes it's hard to grasp. For example, you are doing some interviews, right? Instead of saying that I made some videos, blah blah blah, and say I have 3 videos published and they are here, and goes the link. Right? So translate that in things that we can see, right, and touch. And that's one of the things. And during the interview, I really like when the person, actually prepared questions for us, because you see that, I mean, our website doesn't explain exactly what we do. There's very little information about us. So it's nice to see that a candidate went through what is going on and has an idea, right? And wants to ask for more information, right? We had, I think, only a few candidates that asked questions directly, right? And only one candidate that actually took a book with her, and she had some questions prepared, right? And she was just, going through them. I think it shows that you were prepared. And that's good. I don't know, there's a lot of small things, but again, be prepared for the company, right, and the position you are applying for. You can find everything online, and there's so much stuff that you can read about it. That's my, I think, do your research. That's my thing. Yeah.
Okay. What's that?
In my opinion, it's do your research. If you want me to get more specific, keep the CV, at least for my taste, keep the CV to 2 pages. Do it as Luis said, when you tell your experience, do it more write it more as achievements. I like to see to read about soft skills that people has. However, I know from fact that many recruiters will not pay attention to that, because soft skills are not things that you can prove. So it's better that you just stick to those skills you got because of the experience you got, and you explain them very well on your CV. And then basically what you should do is try to see what the job post is asking for, what competences, what skills, and then try to follow that in order to write your CV. And then the same with the cover letter. People still write a lot of the cover letters like if they were an actual letter, dear sir, madam, etc. And nowadays maybe it's people start many times with I'm applying for this. Of course you're applying for this position. So try to save time to the recruiter and go straight to why are you applying for this position, for this company, and then list, maybe I like bullet points. There is recruiters that don't like bullet points, but then list what can you offer in that position. Do it as short as you can, because we are reading the whole applications, but a usual recruiter dedicates 45 seconds to a minute to a candidate, to a CV, and if you don't grasp the attention in those 45 seconds, they will not go through with they will not keep on reading your application. And for the job interview, I would say that first impressions are very important. So one trick or one exercise I could recommend here, it's before the job interview, the day before, and it's been scientifically proven, and especially it's been proven recently, try to do an exercise where you sit down and you write down when was the last time put yourself a goal and you reach that goal, sit down again and write down when was the last time you felt really happy. And the third thing you have to write down is when you had power over another person, which doesn't mean it needs to be a bad thing, but in the sense like you were in charge of this person or you were cooperating with this person and you managed to do this or that. Write down those three things, and it's proven that will give you a mindset ready for being open, giving a better, it will help you give a better first impression. And above all, do your research.
Yeah.
Don't come.
In a sense, is do your research about yourself as well.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, don't come to a job interview without having. If you're applying for a marketing position, first of all, don't send me a Word document as a. I mean, you can send me a Word document as a CV, but if you want to work in marketing and you say you're creative, show me already in the CV that you're creative. If you are applying, it doesn't matter which position you're applying. You should make your research. You should check what the position is about, what it requires, qualifications, etc., etc., and then check the web page, check the blog they are writing, check what they are doing. You have to be able to.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's you need to check the company you're applying for and the type of position that you're applying for, depending on your profile. Right? So we see, for example, people applying for us. If we are looking at a CV of a designer, for example, right, we want to see the colors and we want to see their skills reflected there. Right? It's better to see that they have a nice thing than to say that I have Photoshop skills. It's better if you just show it in your thing. Right? But then, if you are applying for a very analytical position, or in a you are an economist applying for a bank, for example, that's a different kind of CV. So it's very straight to the point, very classic look. There are even some templates that you can download in business schools and things like that. So it depends on the position as well.
And so for a final question to wrap up the conversation, what have you learned so far working at Influence and working in the HR department? Maybe Lewis, you can start.
Okay. Like I said before, it was really interesting to see that when Mario invited me to work, he was just starting this project and didn't know exactly what is going on. Right? It was just him basically. Then I joined, two guys, and then Sergi and some other guys joined. Then you have a crowd, and we are doing something, right, that wasn't there before. Right? So that feeling that you can create something out of nothing, it's very powerful. I think that's the number one thing that I took. As I said before, that you can shape the environment, and you can get people together to build some stuff that it wasn't there before. I think that's fine.
I agree. Also, I think it never passed through my head that you could actually start something from scratch and then see it go, and especially seeing how the mistakes you do and how you recap, and then you say, oh, all right, let's fix this and that, let's try again, oh, mistake again. It helped in this sense. Influence has helped me a lot to deal with mistakes and how to learn from them, to deal with feedback as well as to give feedback. It has helped me, I would say, I was used to work for volunteer organizations before. I had to do recruitment there, and I think here I never there, because everything was, as I said before, it was all set and it's been reproduced the same way forever. And you don't feel like you're learning, but here it's what we were, the experience before with the job postings, the people we were targeting, then with the interviews, what kind of interviews we were doing at the beginning, how we changed them, how we, every time we get, and you see the results, because every time that, when the time passes, you see that the people you've been recruiting, they are more close to what you were looking for. Before maybe you were recruiting people and you were not sure whether this person will fit the role, but now we are really getting very good at targeting that people, and that it also feel maybe it's this feeling of I did something and it worked. Also, it's what influence is giving me, and at the same time, I think it's all the challenge of motivating or keeping motivated people that it's working in a volunteer basis. And for that, we have to think that most of them probably in this volunteer world, there is the altruist volunteer and the selfish volunteer. I think we are dealing more with the selfish one, but it's not selfish in a bad side of the world, but it's selfish because they wanna gain the experience from themselves, so then they can go or show it, as well as they can practice have a better practice afterwards. And it's very amusing to see or to talk with them, with the interns we had or we are having, and see, you know, what are your goals, and what do you want to get out of this internship, and try to work for them to get that. And at the same time, you organize get-togethers, you have a group of people who is from everywhere, and all of a sudden they get together, they have something in common. It might be the most remote topic ever, but they have something in common, and you see that it's and it all started because we decided to, well, Mario decided to start with influence, and boop, 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 started pulling strings, and
Thank you so much, guys, for talking to me today and for sharing your experiences with the viewers. And for all of you, don't forget to visit our website, influencehq.com, see what Influence is all about, check out our blog. By the way, my name is Nina, I'm a blogger at Influence, and by going on our site, you can easily see all of our members' profiles, you can get in contact with us, and maybe we could share a story together. So until next time, bye. See you. Okay.